Hey world, fam. This is gonna be a follow up to my 2020 selection video I did a couple days ago. I just kind of wanted to, just actually kind of go into the minutia of misinformation that's out there, and that we've been so cognitively dissonant about that we don't even take it into consideration. We watch the television, and we have these elections or selections every year for president that runs the country. But if you have any type of political savvy or political literacy, you understand that the president really don't do nothing without Congress and the judicial system, which are the judges, Supreme Court. So there's no unilateral decisions ever being made other than the president, declaring to go to war. But even with that, Congress has to approve it. You understand what I'm saying? So once you understand that there's nothing unilateral about this government, that the president, yes, he is what they call the front man for the nation. But in reference to just having the power to just do whatever he want to do, no. Yeah, he can shut the government down. But who does that affect? Government workers. You understand what I'm saying? So the only real power he have actually really affects the quote-unquote American people when he can't get Congress to agree with what he want to get done. So he shuts the government down. That's just a power that the presidents have. Okay? So once we understand that, then we understand then if it's an electoral college, then the popular vote doesn't matter. Do you understand, family, if I got 1,000 people, right, in a country, or just 1,000 people in the area, and just because I have these 1,000 people separated in different, parts of that area, not necessarily, and some people are going to migrate to certain areas that they like, of course, warm weather, cold weather, whatever. But it's still 1,000 people. And so when there's a vote for the leader of the country, then every particular vote's supposed to matter. Individual. It ain't got nothing to do with regions. It ain't got nothing to do with location. It has something to do with individuality. Every vote's supposed to matter. And so when you have something called an electoral college, and they explain it to you by saying, well, no, it's not fair that we have, 12 million people in California, and it's a Democratic state, and then we have only 3 million people in Iowa, and it's a Republican state. We need to have those people have the same power. Well, why would we have that? Labels have nothing to do with leadership. Now you see why I say it's two wings of the same bird? If it's 15 million people in California and 3 million people in Iowa, well, if the people in California, more of those people in California vote for a particular presidential candidate, that's the president. It doesn't matter because there's 3 million people in Iowa or New Hampshire or Michigan. But if you're watching the television, they tell you that the Iowa caucuses, the New Hampshire caucuses, are way more important than where most of the people in the United States live. California, New York, down south. How do you actually have a system where just because it's 3 million people in the state, and mind you, there is no diversity in these states. If you go to Iowa and New Hampshire, there's less Afro-melanated people and minorities than any country, any state in the country. So how is that diversity? And why are the presidential candidates more focused on states that have the least amount of diversity? You dig? So we have to make sure we look at things from a conscious standpoint. This political process, family, is a joke. Watch the television. Fox, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. They're going to be talking about the Iowa caucuses for the next week or so. And think about how much of a sham it is. There are 4 presidential candidates that can't even participate in Iowa caucuses because they have to be at the impeachment hearings, which is a joke. They're impeaching the president because he was trying to get information on a rival presidential candidate, which did the same thing if you know what's going on politically. It's such hypocrisy. We have millions of people that are disenfranchised in America economically. And we want to impeach the president of the United States because he withheld $400 to $500 million for a country, from a country that's corrupt already. And we have people here that are suffering. And your main reason for impeaching the president because he didn't, provide financial aid, which comes from our pockets, to a foreign country when we have people over here suffering. You see how crazy that is, family? So, I just want to come back I wanted to just recap or just kind of conclude the last video I did when I talk about the 2020 selection and give you an in-depth analysis of why I say that. If you got an electoral college, it's a phony election. If you worry about Iowa, New Hampshire, and Michigan, 3 states where there's no diversity whatsoever, let's keep it 1,000, family. Family, thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting on the videos and sharing the videos. I'm much humbled, and it's much love, right? And in the meantime, between time, may the Most High Saudi bring you joy. And if you're going to the voting office or going to the voting booth, remember your vote don't count if you're in a high population area. And being one is out of 5,000.